The artifact pulsed with warning the moment Justin Wright's fingers brushed its surface. He should have dropped it, should have thrown it out the window of his Manhattan apartment, should have done anything except stand there, transfixed, as cracks of electric blue light spiderwebbed across the crystal's translucent surface. No, no! Justin stumbled backward, his hips slamming into the desk as the light erupted into a blinding column that tore through the fabric of reality itself. When his vision cleared, she was there. And she was magnificent. Her skin shimmered like liquid sapphire under starlight, every curve and angle of her form designed to steal breath and scramble thoughts. Dark hair cascaded past bare shoulders in waves that seemed to move of their own accord, defying gravity and logic in equal measure. Her eyes, God, her eyes, glowed with an inner luminescence that made his chest tighten with something between terror and longing. "Hello, Justin Wright." Her voice slid through the air like silk over skin, carrying harmonics that shouldn't exist in human hearing range. "I am Rima, and I'm here to grant you 3 wishes." Justin's back hit the wall, his heart hammered against his ribs. "This isn't real. I'm hallucinating. Too much caffeine, not enough sleep." "You're not." She moved toward him with predatory grace, each step somehow both threatening and mesmerizing. "Though I admire the attempt at rationalization, most humans just scream." "I write VR code," Justin managed, his voice strangled. "I've imagined scenarios like this 1,000 times. None of them started with a $20 flea market purchase." Rima's laugh was like music played on instruments that didn't exist. "Your species always tries to explain away the impossible." She circled him slowly, studying him with unnerving intensity. "It's adorable." "What are you?" The words came out rougher than intended. "Your legends call my kind succubi." She stopped in front of him, close enough that he could feel the electric warmth radiating from her skin. "Though that term is limiting." Justin's throat went dry. "Succubi, as in demons who feed on desire, yes. But we're far more than your medieval fantasies suggested. We're beings of pure energy who learn to take physical form. Interdimensional travelers, reality weavers." She tilted her head, and starlight seemed to catch in her impossible hair. "And occasionally, wish-granters, bound by ancient pacts your species has long forgotten." "Right, sure. Perfectly normal Tuesday." Justin forced himself to breathe, to think past the fear and unwanted attraction coursing through his veins. "So what's the catch?" Something flickered across her perfect features. Surprise, perhaps? "The catch?" "There's always a catch with wishes. Monkey's paw, careful what you wish for, all that. So what's yours?" For the first time since materializing in his apartment, Rima looked uncertain. "You're not going to immediately demand wealth? Power?" Her luminescent eyes swept over him with new interest. "Eternal pleasure?" "I'm going to figure out what this actually costs first." Justin pushed away from the wall, forcing steadiness into his limbs. "Because nothing in this universe is free, and I'm guessing interdimensional wish-granting is no exception." Rima stared at him for a long, charged moment. Then, impossibly, she smiled. A real smile that transformed her alien beauty into something even more dangerous. Something that looked almost human. "You're not what I expected, Justin Wright," she said softly. "Not at all." 3 hours later, they sat across from each other at his kitchen table, a absurd domestic scene featuring a human programmer and a reality-bending succubus drinking ghost pepper chai. Justin had learned several things in those 3 hours. 1. Rima could manipulate quantum states with a thought, bending the fundamental laws of physics like they were gentle suggestions. 2. She had existed for millennia, crossing dimensions and granting wishes to humans who never thought to ask her a single personal question. 3. The way she looked at him when she thought he wasn't paying attention made his pulse race in ways that had nothing to do with fear. You still haven't wished for anything, Rima observed, cradling her mug between elegant blue fingers. Most humans can barely contain themselves for 3 minutes. Maybe I like mysteries, Justin met her glowing eyes. Or maybe I'm more interested in understanding you than exploiting cosmic loopholes. Don't. Her voice suddenly sharp, all warmth evaporating. Don't pretend this is anything other than what it is. I'm not here to be understood. I'm here to grant 3 wishes and move on. Then why are you still here? Justin leaned forward. You could disappear right now. Wait for me to make my wishes remotely. But you're sitting in my kitchen at midnight, drinking tea and arguing with me about quantum computing. Rima set down her mug with careful precision. You don't know what you're asking. So tell me. My kind doesn't form attachments. The words came out strained. We can't. It disrupts everything. The balance between dimensions, the ancient laws, the very foundation of what we are. She stood abruptly, her form flickering between solid and translucent. If I stay, if I let this continue. What? Justin rose to face her. What happens? Nothing good. But she didn't leave, didn't vanish in that flash of blue light he'd already learned meant she was running scared. There are rules, Justin, consequences. For you or for me? Both. She turned away, her shoulders tense. The council monitors all interactions. They're already watching us. Every moment I stay here, every conversation we have, it registers. And if they decide I've compromised the mission, what do? Rima's laugh was bitter. They reset everything, wipe your memories, reassign me, ensure nothing like this ever happens again. The words hit Justin like ice water. You've seen it happen before. Once. Her voice barely above a whisper. Another succubus. She got attached. They made her watch as they erased every trace of her existence from his mind. Then they dismantled her essence and rebuilt her from scratch. The being who emerged wasn't the same person. Justin moved closer, his heart pounding. Then we don't let them find out. She spun to face him, eyes wide. You can't hide emotions from the council. They monitor energy signatures. If I start to feel... She cut herself off, but the implication hung heavy in the air. Feel what? Don't make me say it. Her form rippled with instability. You need to make your wishes, Justin, now, before this goes any further. What if I wish for more time? That's not how it works. Then show me how it does work. He reached for her hand, and the moment their skin touched, electricity arced between them. The air itself seemed to shudder. Teach me. Let me understand your world, your rules, your... That's dangerous. Good. Justin held her gaze, refusing to let her look away. Because I'm done playing it safe. First wish. I want to learn the ancient secrets of your people. Everything you are, everything you can experience, I want to understand it all. Rima's eyes went wide with shock, fear, and something else. Something hungry. You don't know what you're asking for. Then show me. For one heartbeat, she hesitated. Then she placed her hand over his heart, and Justin's reality shattered. Colors exploded across his vision, hues that had no names, wavelengths his human eye should never perceive. He could suddenly hear the quantum hum, atoms vibrating in harmony, taste the electromagnetic spectrum, feel the rotation of the Earth through space. Every nerve ending sang with impossible awareness as cosmic knowledge poured into his consciousness. But underneath it all, beneath the overwhelming sensory assault, he felt something else. Rima's fear, her loneliness, the terrible aching emptiness of millennia spent granting wishes without ever being seen as anything more than a means to an end. And now, impossibly, her desire. Not the shallow succubus need for energy or pleasure, but something raw and real and absolutely forbidden. When Justin's perception snapped back to normal, he found himself on his knees, gasping. Rima knelt beside him, her hand still pressed to his chest, her perfect face showing cracks in its controlled facade. That was... He couldn't find words. The first lesson. Her voice trembled. How my people experience existence. But Justin, you can't. We can't. He caught her wrist, feeling the frantic pulse of energy beneath her skin. I know what I felt. What you felt. Don't lie to me now. It doesn't matter what I feel. She tried to pull away, but he held firm. The council will know. They'll come, and when they do, let them come. You don't understand. They'll take everything. Your memories, my essence, this. She gestured helplessly between them. Whatever this is becoming. Then we make sure it's worth remembering. Justin pulled her closer, watching her luminescent eyes widen. Even if it's only for tonight. Justin. Second wish, he said quietly, and felt her entire body tense. I wish for the ability to enter your dreams, to see the worlds you create when you think no one's watching, to know the real you. That, her voice broke, no human has ever made that wish. The dream realms aren't meant for your kind. If you get lost there, then guide me. He lifted his free hand to her face, marveling at how her blue skin seemed to warm under his touch. Unless you're scared. Terrified, she admitted. Because if I let you in, if I share that with you, there's no pretending anymore, no maintaining distance. The council will know exactly what's happening between us. Good, Justin said, and kissed her. The moment their lips met, reality bent. The apartment dissolved around them, replaced by a dreamscape of swirling stars and impossible geometries. They fell together through layers of consciousness, past the barriers that separated dimensions, into a realm where thought became form and desire shaped existence itself. Rima's true essence blazed around him, not just the humanoid shell she wore, but the vast, ancient being of pure energy beneath. And instead of burning him away, she wrapped that power around him like wings, protecting him even as she pulled him deeper into her inner world. This is madness, her voice echoed through the dream. We can't. Then stop me, Justin challenged, his consciousness intertwining with hers. But she didn't. Instead, she opened herself completely, showing him everything, the loneliness of immortality, the weight of existing between worlds, the desperate hunger for genuine connection that she'd suppressed for millennia. And he showed her his own truth, the isolation of being brilliant but unseen, the yearning for something beyond the mundane, the instant recognition of finding someone who matched the empty spaces in his soul. When they finally surfaced from the shared dream, dawn was breaking over Manhattan. They lay tangled together on his living room floor, reality slowly reasserting itself around them. They know, Rima whispered against his shoulder. The council. I can feel their attention like ice in my veins. Justin tightened his arms around her. How long do we have? Hours, maybe less. She looked up at him, and for the first time, he saw real fear in those luminescent eyes. Justin, I'm sorry. I should have been stronger, should have left before. Don't. He kissed her forehead, feeling the crackle of unstable energy where their skin touched. Don't apologize for being real with me. When they come, you won't remember this, won't remember me. Her voice cracked. That's how it works. They'll sever our connection, reset the timeline, and you'll wake up tomorrow with a cheap crystal on your desk and no idea why you feel like you've lost something precious. Not if I use my third wish. Rima went rigid. Justin, no. Whatever you're thinking. I'm thinking, he said carefully, that I'd rather fight than forget. That I'd rather take on your entire council than lose this, lose you. He pulled back to meet her eyes. Unless I'm alone in feeling that way. You know you're not. The admission seemed torn from somewhere deep inside her. I've existed for thousands of years, granted millions of wishes, and not once have I felt... She touched his face with trembling fingers. This shouldn't be possible. My kind doesn't fall in love. And yet?
And yet here I am, absolutely terrified because I think I'm falling anyway. A tear, actual liquid crystallizing on her blue skin, traced down her cheek. But even if you use your wish, even if you break every rule trying to keep us together, you're human. You'll live maybe 80 more years while I continue for eternity. And I'll have to watch you fade, knowing I dragged you into something impossible. Then make it possible. Justin sat up, pulling her with him. You're a reality-bending, interdimensional being. I'm a programmer who just got a crash course in quantum manipulation. Between the two of us, we can find a way. You're insane. Probably. He kissed her again, softer this time. But I'm also right, and you know it. Before Rima could respond, the apartment filled with blinding light. 3 figures materialized, beings of pure energy, barely contained in humanoid forms, their presence making the air itself scream with pressure. The council had arrived.
This ends now. The first council member's voice resonated on frequencies that made Justin's bones ache. Rima, of the 7th dimension, you have violated the fundamental laws of non-attachment. The human must be reset. No! Justin stepped in front of Rima, feeling her hand clutch desperately at his shirt. She hasn't violated anything. I'm the one who made the wishes. The wishes are irrelevant. The second being circled them with predatory interest. She has compromised her objectivity, developed emotional attachments. Such corruption cannot be allowed to spread. Corruption? Justin felt anger burn through his fear. You call genuine emotion corruption? We call it destabilization. The third council member studied them with something that might have been curiosity. Your species thrives on chaos, human. Ours requires order, balance. When one of our kind begins to feel as you do, it threatens the very structure that maintains dimensional integrity. Then maybe your structure needs updating. Justin felt Rima's energy crackling against his back, unstable with fear and barely suppressed power. Because from where I'm standing, you've created a system that denies your people basic personhood. Personhood is a human concept. The first being moved closer. We are tools, functions, bridges between realities. Rima understands this, even if her current corruption makes her hesitate. I am not a tool. Rima's voice cut through the room like a blade. Not anymore. The council members exchanged looks that Justin couldn't interpret. This is unfortunate, the second being said. We hoped to avoid full dismantlement. But if you've reached the stage of active rebellion, third wish, Justin shouted, and reality froze. Every being in the room went still. The laws of wish-granting were absolute. Once invoked, even the council had to honor them. No, Rima breathed behind him. Justin, don't. But he was already speaking, pouring every ounce of conviction into the words. I wish for a permanent, binding connection between Rima and myself that transcends dimensional law, and for her complete freedom from all obligations to the council, past, present, and future. The silence that followed was absolute. Then the first council member laughed, a sound like reality tearing. Foolish human, that wish is impossible. Our laws supersede even the ancient pacts. No, the third being said slowly. No, I don't think they do. Everyone turned to stare. Look at the energy signature. The third council member gestured, and glowing patterns appeared in the air. Complex mathematical equations describing Justin and Rima's intertwined essences. The wish has already taken effect. The binding is complete. That's impossible. The second being stepped forward, examining the patterns. Humans can't sustain connections at this level. The energy differential alone should tear him apart.
But Justin could feel it, the transformation happening at a cellular level. His consciousness expanding, reshaping, evolving to match Rima's frequency. It hurt like nothing he'd ever experienced, like being unmade and rebuilt atom by atom. And through it all, he felt Rima's presence anchoring him, guiding him, preventing him from dissolving into quantum foam. "Stop it!" Rima's voice was anguished. "You're killing him!" "No," Justin gasped through the pain. "I'm becoming something new." The transformation reached its peak. Light exploded from his body, and when it faded, Justin stood changed. Not fully human anymore, but not entirely energy being either. Something hybrid, something unprecedented. "Fascinating," the third council member murmured. "Impossible," the first being corrected. "And yet," Justin looked down at his hands, watching them flicker between solid and translucent. "Here I am." He turned to Rima, who stared at him with wonder and horror in equal measure. "I told you we'd find a way." "You idiot." But she was crying, those impossible crystalline tears streaming down her blue skin. "You beautiful, reckless idiot." The first council member moved forward threateningly. "This changes nothing. The corruption is permanent." The third being interrupted. "The wish cannot be undone. The binding is absolute." By invoking his third wish in this manner, the human has created a new paradigm entirely. "We cannot allow this precedent." "Can't we?" The third being's form rippled with what might have been amusement. "Consider, for millennia, we've wondered if true dimensional integration was possible. If our kind could evolve beyond our current limitations. This human has just proven it can be done. Through chaos and law-breaking.
Through love and innovation." The third being turned to Justin and Rima. "The binding will hold. She is free of council obligation. But understand, you have created something unprecedented. Neither fully human nor fully succubus. The path forward will be difficult." "I can handle difficult," Justin said, reaching for Rima's hand. The moment they touched, their energy synchronized perfectly, and he felt the rightness of it sing through his transformed consciousness. "The council will be watching," the first being warned. "If this connection threatens dimensional stability, then we'll deal with it together." Rima's voice was stronger now, steadier. "But you no longer have authority over me or him. The wish saw to that." The council members conferred in frequencies beyond normal hearing. Finally, they began to fade. "This isn't over," the first being promised. "It never is," the third being replied, sounding almost pleased. "But perhaps that's the point." When they vanished completely, Justin's legs gave out. He collapsed, and Rima caught him, cradling him against her as aftershocks of transformation rippled through his system. "You're insane," she whispered into his hair. "You risked everything, your humanity, your sanity, your life." "I risked nothing." Justin looked up at her, seeing her now with senses that transcended simple vision. "I gained everything." "I could have lost you." "You still could." He touched her face, marveling at how he could now perceive the energy flowing beneath her skin. "I'm not immortal like you. This transformation might give me decades more, maybe centuries, but eventually—" "Don't," she kissed him fiercely. "We'll figure it out, together. We have time now, real time." "How much?" "Enough." She pulled back, her luminescent eyes searching his transformed features. "Enough to try. Enough to love you properly, without fear of the council tearing us apart." She laughed, the sound half-sob. "Enough to terrify me completely." Justin grinned. "Good. I'd hate to be the only one scared." "What do we do now?" He considered the question, feeling the new power humming through his veins, the connection to Rima that now formed a fundamental part of his being.
Now, we figure out how to live, really live, not as human or succubus, but as whatever we are now. That could take a while. We've got time, remember? He stood, pulling her up with him. And I have about 1,000 questions about quantum manipulation and dimensional travel. Of course you do. But she was smiling, that dangerous, beautiful smile that made his transformed heart race. Though I should warn you, teaching you to properly control your new abilities is going to require some very hands-on instruction. Is that a promise or a threat? Both. She kissed him again, and reality rippled around them in response to their combined power. Definitely both.
The penthouse overlooked Central Park, its walls occasionally shifting to reveal glimpses of other dimensions. 2 children played in the living room, twins with blue-tinted skin and their father's curious green eyes, their forms flickering between solid and energy as they chased each other through multiple planes of existence simultaneously. "No phasing through walls in the house," Rima called out, her voice carrying harmonics that made the furniture vibrate. "But Mom," Orion started. "Your mother said no." Justin emerged from his study, now comfortable moving between dimensions as easily as walking through doors. 5 years of practice had made him confident in his hybrid nature, though he still occasionally surprised himself with what he'd become. "Daddy," Nova literally flew across the room and into his arms. "Orion keeps changing the quantum states of my toys." "Did not." "Did too." "Kids," Rima sighed, but she was smiling as Justin settled both children with practiced ease. "They get their reality-bending mischief from you, you know." "Pretty sure that's from your side of the family." Justin grinned at her over their children's heads. "Your mother in the 7th dimension keeps complaining about finding spaghetti in the cosmic void." That was one time. As they managed the chaos of dinner, with plates that occasionally forgot they were supposed to obey gravity, Justin felt contentment settle over him like a warm blanket. 5 years ago, he'd been a lonely programmer buying cheap artifacts at a flea market. Now he was a hybrid being raising interdimensional children with the love of his life, occasionally consulting for the same council that had once tried to tear them apart. Thinking deep thoughts again? Rima wrapped her arms around him from behind, their energies automatically synchronizing. "Just remembering," Justin leaned into her touch, "and being grateful." "For what?" "That you were brave enough to feel, that I was stupid enough to wish." He turned to kiss her. "That we found each other." "Even with all the chaos?" She gestured at their children, who were now attempting to explain advanced quantum physics to their floating vegetables. "Especially with the chaos." Later, after the children were finally asleep, in their own dimension, because getting hybrid toddlers to bed in just one reality was impossible, Justin and Rima stood on their balcony. The stars above had been rearranged into new constellations, courtesy of their children's creative energy manipulation. "Do you ever regret it?" Rima asked softly. "Giving up your humanity, your normal life?" Justin pulled her close, feeling their hearts beat in quantum synchronization. "Not for a second." "Even knowing what it cost?" "Especially knowing what it gained." He kissed her temple. "You, them, this life, it's worth everything." She was quiet for a moment. "The council's been making noises again, about our children, about what they represent." Let them make noises. Justin felt power crackle at his fingertips, power he'd spent years learning to control. "We've rewritten the rules once. We can do it again if we have to." "My dangerous human." But she was smiling. "Your dangerous partner," he corrected. "Equal in power if not experience." "True." She turned in his arms to face him. "Have I mentioned lately that I love you?" "Not in the last hour." Unacceptable. She kissed him, and reality bent around them in response. "I love you, Justin Wright, through every dimension, across every timeline, for however long we have." "Forever," he said against her lips. "We have forever. We made sure of that. Forever is a long time. Not long enough."
As Manhattan glittered below them and alien stars wheeled overhead, they held each other close, two impossible beings who'd found the most impossible thing of all, a love worth breaking reality for. And somewhere in the cosmic bureaucracy, the council watched and waited, unsure if this precedent would save or doom dimensional stability. But Justin and Rima didn't care. They had each other, their children, and all the time in the universe to figure out the rest. Sometimes the best magic isn't in wishes or cosmic law. Sometimes it's just in being seen, really, truly seen for who you are, and choosing to see someone else just as clearly in return. The end. Author's note: love transcends dimensions, breaks cosmic law, and occasionally results in children who redecorate reality. Handle with care.